Hello and a very warm welcome to this week's Scene on 7. I'm Steve Brennan. By comparison, it's been a very quiet week for the region. After the chaos at Heathrow for almost the entire week following the attempted mortar bombings, the incidents have brought home just how vulnerable a target the airport could be, and highlighted once more the expertise of the police and the airport staff which minimised the inconvenience. Well done to all of them. Don't forget that if you think you may have seen anything relevant to any of these incidents, those at Heathrow, please telephone Scotland Yard's anti-terrorist hotline on 0800 789 321. That's a free phone number, or the police at Heathrow can also help. Their number is 081 897 7340. Your call will be in the strictest confidence. Now, am I going to salute Chelsea reaching the semi-finals of the FA Cup? You bet, but not yet. Here's a look at this week's selection from Scene on 7. Learning through action, we talk to the experts, and it's not the children. Can you help with a vicious assault in St Leonard's Road, Windsor? If so, watch Police File. But where is Tom Magner? And who is Bubbles?
And we'll be finding out what Bubbles and I are doing later on the programme.
And projecting from the rear of the auditorium, that's the back row to you and I, Tony O'Rourke with the Datchet Players. Actually, it's the Windsor Theatre Guild. I'll also be talking to Caroline McManus about the seemingly pointless seal culling carried out annually in Canada, Norway and Russia, and finding out what you can do to help put a stop to it. Closer to home, the Borough of Spelthorne have updated and reprinted their hugely popular leisure guide. It's now available completely free, and you can pick up copies at the council's offices, at public libraries, at the leisure centres, and also at the old Town Hall Arts Centre, as recently featured on this very programme. If you have any difficulty obtaining a copy, or you'd like more information, the Leisure Development team would love to help. You can call them on Staines, that's 0784 446 261 or 446 214. And one of Spelthorne's favourite sons, Simon Brandt, has been to St Anthony's School in Slough to discover more about a relatively new scheme affecting our children. But what is learning through action? Here's Simon's report.
Pupils at St Anthony's Combined School in Road, Slough are experiencing a new style of teaching. They've been visited by the Learning Through Action group, who will hopefully help the children become more aware of their responsibilities to themselves as well as to others.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? What would you do? Well, if a new person came to school and just because he had a different sort of voice, how would you help him?
Make friends with them.
How would you do that?
Try to show them how to go up and play the game.
Go up and say hello, that's a start, isn't it?
Yeah. Say, do you want to join my game?
Do you want to join my game? Yeah. The only people that tried to get him were these people who run in these gangs. Do you know what they wanted him to do? They wanted him to steal things from their father's shop, from my shop, just to be part of the gang. Well, you can't have that carry on, can you? Hey? I don't know what I'm going to... Of course, he wanted to leave school and everything, but it just so happened that one person did come up to him and they shared a Mega Drive game. And then after that, they become good friends, and now he's quite happy. But it took a bit of a while to settle.
Now, Duggan, you're a teacher with Learning Through Action. What have you got out of today in terms of the class that you've had?
Today's particular experience, as you saw, was with the 12 to 13-year-olds in this middle school. Obviously, the reaction to the You're OK, I'm OK project varies depending on the age of the children. So with the younger ones, we approach it from looking at how they can describe their feelings with the limited vocabulary that they have. So my colleague Louise uses teddy bears, because you can talk about how you feel towards your teddy bear, and sometimes that's an indication of how the child might want to talk about what's happening to him or her at the time. With the older ones, simple questions like, can you always tell how somebody feels by the expression on their face? Well, of course, we know that you can't. So there are other words to use for our feelings when they're mixed up, and when we're hurt. And that's really what the core of the program is all about, is to get children to talk about how they hurt other children's feelings, how they hurt other adults' feelings, in the form of arguments, how it's easy to start an argument, but how difficult it is to mend an argument, to say sorry and mean it.
Move around. Let's get the ribbon going. Get a load down, Tracy. Right down, right. Okay, I'll take 2 more. Right, the mouse, cat's coming. Where is she? Where is she? What is that mouse? Right, get a little bit lower. Get a little bit lower. Right. Where is she? I didn't see her. Wrong way. Behind you.
Christine Harlow, you're the headmistress here at St Anthony's Combined School. What decided you to invite Learning Through Action into your school?
Well, during this academic year, we've been concentrating on trying to raise our pupils' awareness of their responsibilities as citizens of the future in Slough. We had heard of the Learning Through Action group from one of our neighbouring schools, and we thought that this would also benefit our pupils in raising their awareness to be responsible citizens.
What feedback have you had so far from staff with regards to the children's reaction?
Well, the children have been really tremendously enthusiastic. Each time they have finished a session, they have been full of what they have been doing, and it has left an indelible impression on their minds. They've been really keen.
1, 2, 3, up, under. Not bad. Not bad. Let's just try it once more then.
Annette Cottrell, you're the director and founder of Learning Through Action. What is the concept of the LTA?
Well, Learning Through Action, what it says is literally learning through action, which is hands-on in a very user-friendly way, working with artifacts, getting the children to actually touch and ask questions. And whereas in a normal classroom, it's very much more writing and using textbooks, besides our using that, we actually directly talk to the children. We use role play, we use information technology, we use a variety of methods to stimulate the children into learning in a very much more positive and active way.
How receptive are our schools to you? I mean,
well, if I can just tell you that we reach about 10,000 children a year.
Really?
And we are never out of work. I mean, the schools are receptive. We're always being booked. Because this is only just one of our programs. I mean, we offer about 12 or 13 programs to schools. This is a very special program which can only be done in a school if they're willing to give over a week at a time so that we can train the staff and the children.
What is the You're OK, I'm OK project all about, in essence?
Well, it's about positive, good behaviour, really, and good self-esteem, and making children aware that there are people outside that need help. It's a community-based project based around good citizenship, good self-esteem, helping others in the community, and working very closely with teachers, community staff, community police, social workers, psychologists, so that everybody is involved in the project to make it work. It's no point just working with one group of people like the teachers. It has to be all of the community that are working in Slough with us.
Learning Through Action. Annette Cottrell and Steve Cox are both involved in one way or another in Learning Through Action, and they're both here in the studio with me now. Welcome, Steve. Welcome, Annette.
Hello.
Hi there. Now then, Annette, how is LTA, that's Learning Through Action, different from other teaching methods in general terms?
I think the most important difference is that it's interactive. And that means that you cannot distinguish between the teacher and the child. They are both learning together. They're learning from each other through role play, from using information technology, from using artifacts. But the learning process is vital. There isn't the instruction from the teacher to the child. It's a mutual learning experience and is very participatory and, as you'll have seen, very active.
Now, where did the inspiration for Learning Through Action come from? I mean, from what I've seen on that film, it looks like it's very based in the theatre. It's very theatrical.
Yes, it comes from a mixture of my theatrical background and my teacher training experience. And the two combined actually give it that fairly unique feel, I think, to it. It came from when I was training teachers many years ago and realised that there was something missing in the training. And what we started to do was to make a very active approach in education, using all the subjects on the curriculum to actually convey the very basic of subjects and the very basics of material to do a very exciting program which, as I say, involved not only role play but information technology, the use of artifacts, and also, of course, using books in a very different way so that one had research and development as well as role play and active learning.
Now, what are the positive benefits for the children? For example, they all look like they're having a very good time, but are the benefits actually measurable?
Well, they're measurable in as much as that we evaluate our work, but if you want to really measure the true experience, it's to actually interview a child 10 years after the event, which we are able to do now. And if you actually talk to a child who's been through the process at 7 and meet that child later in secondary school, which we invariably do, the experience will actually be remembered, and he or she can remember exactly what a character was wearing or what the actual theme was about and what we were trying to convey. It's very, very clear. A child learns far more by actually doing through experience or learning through experience and actually being involved actively than reading from a book.
Now, how is the LTA, that's Learning Through Action, in case you missed it earlier, funded? I know Steve's going to talk about that in just a moment indirectly, but directly, how is LTA funded?
Well, now it's funded privately. We are a charity, and everything that we do is funded by either business or other charities. For example, the input here is the NSPCC and Marks & Spencer, besides the Safer Slough enterprise.
Now, Steve, you represent another organisation which is actually involved in funding, but indirectly Learning Through Action.
Yeah, I represent an organisation called Safer Slough Enterprise, which itself is a charity, and was set up by Thames Valley Police, the Borough Council, trying to get a partnership approach to looking at how we can tackle crime in Slough. For people who live and work in Slough.
So the long-term view is that if the children are developed and educated in a certain way, partly by Learning Through Action and partly by good education within the school under the normal syllabus, therefore you end up with a better citizen and resultingly less crime. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, that's what we're hoping. There's lots of evidence, particularly in America, that says that if you are going to make any impression on crime, that you really need to, A, get the community involved, and B, look at getting to younger children. And we know that from nursery age upwards, this is when they're at the most impressionable. We can then start to build self-esteem, and we can hopefully look towards the future and stop these young kids getting into a life of crime before it happens. So we're very keen. It really does fulfill both of our criteria. It looks at getting the community involved by way of the schools and the parents, but also getting directly to these young children and hopefully influencing them for the future.
Annette, would you say that the format could be used, for example, in other subjects that the children learn at school, normal syllabus subjects?
Yes, I mean that's normally the work that we do. This is a one-off project, but normally we actually cover 16 subjects and all the national curriculum subjects. For example, we've got a program on the history of farming, whereby children step into the shoes of farmers and learn what it was like to go through the 4 seasons of on the land, particularly in Berkshire. I'm just in the process of finishing something on science, which is essentially stepping into the shoes of famous scientists. But by stepping into the shoes of famous scientists, one is able to actually feel what it was like to be there at the time inventing a particular concept or a particular subject. So it's everything.
But the ultimate goal is to develop an all-round individual. and you think that this could benefit everyone in our region. For example, it's only available at the school as a test exercise at the moment, but you're hoping it will develop throughout the region, both of you, obviously. In Slough directly for you, Steve, and
Well, we've now done 6 schools, Steve, in Slough, so that's quite a lot of fundraising that we've done, or Safer Slough Enterprise has done.
Right.
We're over the moon with what we've done, but we always need money because there are other schools that want it. So if anyone is looking in, any companies that would like to sponsor this, I'd be only too pleased to talk to them. And they can get me through Safer Slough.
They can write to us through to Safer Slough directly, or they can write to us at Scene on 7. We'll give the address at the end of the programme. Annette, for your part, if anyone's would like any more information, or they'd like to indeed contribute, because it is a charity, what should they do in the first instance?
Well, they should ring me, and they should ring me at Learning Through Action on Reading 0734 66 555 6.
And that number will be on the Moving Magazine 24 hours a day after the programme. Annette, Steve, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. It was agreed by members of BAM, that's Berkshire Against Motorways, at a public meeting that there is to be a weekly vigil next to the motorway bridge over Windsor Road, Slough, every Saturday morning. It starts at 12 noon and lasts 1 hour. It's designed to call attention to the nightmare problems which may result from motorway widening proposals. BAM claim, wonderful name, claim that proposals will create traffic problems throughout the area rather than solve them. On the subject of traffic and police matters, we've given Inspector Bob Owen and Nick Wood a rest from the make-up chair and also from the autograph hunters this week, and present Police File this time round. We welcome once again Paul Coulson at Maidenhead Police Station. You may be able to help with a really nasty assault, so please have a pen and paper ready. Here's this week's Police File.
Hello and welcome to Police File. This month's Police File comes from Maidenhead Police Station. I'm Paul Coulson. 1993 was the EC Year of the Elderly. Unfortunately, 1994 has become the Criminals Year of the Elderly. Throughout South Berkshire recently, there's been a spate of burglaries and thefts from homes of single elderly people. The despicable villains responsible use 2 methods to gain entry. The first we refer to as bogus official. They pretend to be from the council or other local service such as gas, water or electric, and give a plausible reason for why they need to come in. Once in the house, they will steal anything from jewellery, which may be of sentimental value, to cash, often the householder's life savings. These people are no respecters of persons and must be stopped. If you have such a caller, demand identification. All of these public services now issue identification cards, and if the caller is genuine, he or she will show their card willingly. If in doubt, keep them outside and contact the service concerned or the police. Do not let them in until you are satisfied. The second class are distraction burglars. Working either on their own or in teams, sometimes with young children, they will make an excuse for coming into your house or garden. A lost dog or a ball kicked over the fence or loose tiles on the roof have all been used. Once you leave the house to check the story, someone is in and out in seconds. An elderly person often cannot give details of those responsible. If you have elderly relatives and or neighbours, please warn them and watch out for them. If you see anything suspicious at all in the way of callers, please note descriptions and any vehicle details and contact the police. Remember, bona fide callers will not mind in the least being inconvenienced or challenged if this callous type of crime can be stopped. Whilst speaking of bogus officials, have you had any telephone calls recently purporting to be from a male doctor? Someone is contacting females and once in their confidence regarding medical history, changes into a regular dirty phone call merchant. If you or a member of your family have received such a call, please inform your local police station. All such incidents are being collated with a view to tracing this individual. If you have any information at all for the police, don't forget the crime line 0753 506 922. And now we go over to Windsor and Inspector Paul Jakes.
Thank you, Paul. Hello, I'm Inspector Paul Jakes. This is the Lord Raglan Public House, St Leonard's Road, Windsor. At 5:30 on the afternoon of Thursday the 20th of January 1994, a 24-year-old woman was attacked close to here. She was walking from her place of work to her car when she was approached by the offender. He asked her for her name before attacking her with a Stanley knife type weapon. She received slash wounds to her face and defence wounds to her hands and arms. The offender is described as Asian male, aged 25 to 30 years, 5 foot 10 inches tall, stocky build. At the time of the offence, he was wearing a dark jacket, blue jeans and trainers. An artist's impression is shown here. Do you recognise this man? Did you witness the attack? Were you in this area at 5:30 on the 20th of January? Any information would be gratefully received by Windsor CID on 0753 506633 or the confidential crime line on 0753 506922. And now back to Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Whilst we're picking your brains for names to faces, do you recognise either of these two young men? They were responsible for the theft of a large number of cigarettes from a service station in Maidenhead. Can you put names to them? Or maybe you bought some cigarettes from them in good faith. If you can help, PC Howard Johnson at Maidenhead is the officer waiting for your information. If you don't want to give your details, leave a message on the crime line 0753 506 922. With warmer weather approaching, our open-air thieves are coming out of hibernation. I'm referring to our handbag snatchers and thieves. If you are visiting tourist areas, beware. Do you really need to take your handbag? If so, take the minimum of property required and keep the bag with you and close to you at all times. Be aware of who is about you in a crowd. Likewise, if you must leave your property in a parked vehicle, make sure that all of it is out of sight, preferably in a boot, and secure that vehicle. Finally, talking of vehicles, I have to tell you that BMWs are top of the hit parade at the moment in this area for thefts from vehicles. Radios, stereos, phones, and any other goodies are being taken. On occasions, car alarms have failed to activate. So, once again, it might be inconvenient, but remove all property likely to attract these people, irrespective of where or when your car is parked. 10 to 20 seconds is all that it takes to pop a window and take your pick. And before the rest of you motorists become too smug and complacent, all other types of vehicles are still being broken into. Remember, if you want any advice on crime prevention matters, contact your local police station. The service is free and could prevent you losing your property. It's been Paul Coulson for Police File. Thank you for watching. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Paul. We've got a plethora of Pauls this week. Thank you, Paul and Paul. Now then, a letter has flooded in. Postcard, in fact, from Sarah O'Donoghue. Now, Sarah, we've made repeated attempts to telephone you and answer your question, which was about the moving magazine, but you haven't answered the phone call. So if you'd like to give us a ring on 0753 811 817, Sarah, if you're watching anytime, 24 hours a day, leave a message. We'll be delighted to get back to you. I must also say a quick hello to Aldo in Burnham, who left a message on the moving magazine. He's not feeling very well at the moment. Get well soon, young man, and best wishes, that is, from your friend Mario in Burnham, who took the trouble to phone in. It was nice talking to you, Mario. Many thanks also for your other letters. Keep them coming in. The address and phone number is coming up at the end of today's programme. Now then, a very serious subject, seal culling. It's an issue which has provoked debate for several years. To further enlighten us, I'm joined by Caroline McManus. Caroline, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
How are you? Good. Now, how did you first become aware that seal culling was in fact taking place?
Well, it came through the newspaper again after 20 odd years, but I don't call it seal culling. I'm afraid, in my personal opinion, it's more like seal murder.
Right.
Callous murder of something really that shouldn't take place. I don't believe in it whatsoever. I don't believe in any animal murder, to be honest with you. I don't. I put it down to murder. I don't believe in animal killing.
Right, okay.
Simple as that.
You've obviously got very, very strong emotions about it, and this little fella here represents a little seal pup, and we'll be coming to him again a little bit later. A campaign has been started by, let me get this right, the International Fund for Animal Welfare.
Yeah.
What steps are they actually taking to put a stop to this?
Well, they've done very well, actually. I've been in close contact with them. I've rang them, they've rang me, and the last information which they did give me was they've just come back from Canada after 3 weeks' stay, and they took a few people with them, members of the European Parliament, and also a journalist from the Daily Mirror, to catch up on the news from there. It's very distressing because 60,000 of them were killed this year alone, only this year alone. And there wasn't really a lot they could do. They tried to get in very close contact to the seals, but unfortunately mothers didn't really want them anywhere near there.
Right. So they're actually up against it from the mothers. Now. But they're up against it from the mothers of the seals who they're actually trying to protect. Is that what you're saying?
They're out. They just wanted to get close to the seals, but they're still up there now.
Now, you're also involved in a petition signing, which is going to be happening for the next couple of weeks, whereby members of the public can put their point across. They can actually register their displeasure. Yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, this petition started up when I thought to myself, someone's got to do something about this. And I spoke to a lot of people, and they have also helped me to write letters to the Parliament, whoever he is, and I sent them off with a letter of my own. And then I thought, well, I don't know, let's put a petition up to help. And I'd been in touch with the I4 people and told them and wanted their views on it, and they said that would be absolutely marvellous. So I did. So a few friends of mine, I've got permission to do it, and it's all hopefully going ahead okay in the next couple of weeks.
You know, over the next few weeks, people can catch you in Slough High Street with other friends who are on the same wavelength as you, and this petition, where are you going to deliver this petition?
Well, actually, I've been in touch with the I4 today to ask them about that. Now, I don't know. They said I have to ring them back on Monday morning to decide whether it will go to the Russian embassy, whatever, or send it to them.
Or maybe you could take it to 10 Downing Street and get them to deal with it.
I wish I could.
Why don't we organise that for you?
I wish I could, yeah.
We'll see what we can do. Now, this has been happening in various countries for many, many years. On my paperwork here, registered is Canada, Norway, and now Russia. Particularly around the Caspian Sea, I believe.
That's right.
Now, I understand that the campaign at the moment is directed specifically at Russia and Canada. We've got an address coming up in a moment for it, and I'll tell the viewers where they can write their own message. Why Russia? Has it just manifested that it's being dealt with in Russia too?
No, Russia has had I mean, the scientific side of it, I'm not really up to date on. It's mainly the Canadian side of it, where I get in touch with the people and they fill me in. I was more interested to know what happened when they came back from Canada and what happened to the babies.
Yeah.
And what was happening. I do know that Canada sent the seal pulp to Russia and China, and I think they're worth about £150 each. The seal skins, £150 each they're worth.
For a seal's life, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sad.
Now then,
it's so sad.
It's very, very sad, I agree, and people have got their own opinions. We would very much like the viewers to get involved in this. Now, if the viewers have got strong views, their own views, I must emphasise that they're not necessarily the views of the company or whatever.
No.
It's totally impartial, it's their own views. They're welcome to write to us and we'll pass the letters on, or they can write directly to who? I think it's the Russian embassy.
That's right, the Russian embassy, the ambassador at the Russian embassy, which
okay, I'll give that address out now. Please address your letters to the address on screen. That's His Excellency Ambassador Boris Panknim. That's Boris Panknim, the Russian Embassy, 18 Kensington Palace Gardens, London W8 4QX. That's London W8 4QX. That address will also be on the movie magazine. Wish you luck with your campaign.
Thank you.
Now, this little fella on the desk that we've been looking at, this little fella here, sorry, there he is.
He was sent to me.
He was sent to you by?
The International Welfare for Animal Rights.
Right.
And when I inquired about it, and they said to me, you love them very much, don't you? I said, it upsets me greatly to hear what goes on with those dear little babies. And they sent me that.
Okay, now do you buy these or?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I mean, they sent me that specifically for this programme and for my campaign.
We'd like people also to write in with suggestions for a name for this little guy, and we'll pass all those letters on to Caroline as soon as we possibly can. Caroline, thanks for coming in. Wish you luck with your campaign.
Thank you.
Okay. Now then, it's an emotive issue. I think you'll agree. Time now for a short break. We can all get our breath back. And still to come, my very special guest, Tom Magner, and you'll be pleased to know, a report on Chelsea's achievements in the FA Cup. Back soon, you're watching Scene on 7, and this is WMTV at 31 minutes past the hour.
Look, I know you're supposed to be hard, but let me try and explain. Giving blood is a very good thing to do. How can you be so cold about it? Don't you understand, without blood donors, there'd be no operations, or treatment for blood diseases, or for burns, or for newborn babies? People with haemophilia would bleed to death. Am I getting through to you? I don't know, they were right. It's like trying to get blood out of a... Oh, thank you.
This week's update on 7 reports on the finalisation of the council tax by 2 of the authorities in our region. Spelthorne Council have agreed that the amount which should be levied against each property valuation band for 94-95, those in band A, for example, will be £361.60, B, £421.86, C, £482.13, D, £542.40, E, £662.94, F, £783.47, G, £904 exactly, and if you live in a mansion in band H, £1,084.80. Now then, you can form your own opinions as to the value that those figures are, and if they represent good value for money. But the leader of the council, Councillor Barry Miles, says that the Spelthorne proportion of the council tax will enable us to maintain the excellent levels of service and additional one-off items totalling in excess of £390,000. Many people will be eligible for a discount as part of the council tax reduction scheme. The council's budget for next year will be approximately £8.055 million. That's £8.055 million. A lot of money. In Windsor and Maidenhead, Band D, which is the average council tax for each council, has been set at £531. Now, broken down, this includes Berkshire County Council's precept of £466.26, while the borough's requirement is only £50.20, or 97 pence per week. I'm sorry, Windsor and Maidenhead, 97 pence per week. Commenting on the levels for Windsor and Maidenhead, Councillor Bruce Adams pointed out that less than £1 per week per household is excellent value for all the services delivered by the council. If you have any comments on these levels, we'd like to hear from you, and the address and the phone number are coming just a little later on. Now, I cannot let this opportunity go by without saying many congratulations to Glenn Hoddle and the rest of the Chelsea team who reached the semi-finals of the FA Cup by beating Wolves 1-0. Second part of Update. Gavin Peacock's goal ensured a brilliant victory, and a capacity crowd celebrated by parading the 100 by 50-foot flag around the pitch. They also sang for quite a while after the game too. Forgive my indulgence, but like me, if you're a Chelsea supporter, we don't get too many chances to revel in this sort of thing, and Chelsea are now on a run of 6 wins in succession. And even by his own standards, Glenn Hoddle had a fantastic match, contributing further to an excellent first season in charge at the Bridge. If you're going to Wembley, I'll definitely see you there. It's also reported that several pints of foaming liquid were consumed after the game, but that's not yet been officially confirmed. Now then, if the stresses of modern life or football have your nerves jangling and the kids are adding insult to injury, there is a place which could help you and them. It's called Reflections, and it's in Feltham at the Urban Farm. Making a welcome appearance, you'll see what I mean, is our reporter, Tom Magner.
Ever felt you needed a break from all the routine hassle of living? There's one answer which quite surprisingly lies just 800 yards from the southern runway of the world's largest airport. The Reflections project at Hounslow Urban Farm offers you the chance to get away from it all, to take your senses on a voyage of discovery. Running this scheme must be one of the most relaxing management jobs ever invented. Nikki Selby is the lucky lady in charge. Nikki, take me on a tour of Reflections.
All right, well, first of all, we've got the ultraviolet light over here, and obviously makes things luminous. In the corner, we have the floor that lights up when you stand on the square, and it also makes a noise. Over in the far corner, we've got our favourite, which is like the waterbed, and that's heated, which is lovely. And we've also got the fibre optics hanging down. And over here, we've got the tactile board and the luminous chalkboard.
You've got a second room here at Reflections. What sort of things am I going to see in there?
The second room, which we call our sort of noisy room, we've got a ball pond, which is great fun. You can just dive in it, and it's covered in small balls. We've also got a slide and an igloo, but it's all in the soft play, so, you know, it's quite harmless.
You've been open a short while. How have the public responded to it?
It's been amazing, really. You know, everybody who's come here, all ages, have said that they've really benefited from it. They found it to be really relaxing as well as stimulating their senses.
If you think it looks like fun, don't take my word for it. Listen to what the people who come here regularly have to say. Why do you like Reflections?
I think it's really enjoyable for children and adults. My daughter really loves it. She can play out here in the ball pond and go mad out here with all the soft toys. And then on the other hand, we can go in there and just relax on the waterbed or the big hammock chair. She likes to play with all the little tiny stringy things with all lights showing up. I bring my little baby here who likes all the lights, and I used to come here when I was pregnant, and it was really, really relaxing for me. And I really enjoy it. There's nowhere else around here like it.
Well, I think it's relaxing for both me and Rebecca. She loves it as well. So, but it gives me a chance to, you know, enjoy it as well. I can relax, sit in the ball pool and do what I want, and she can play around as much as she wants to as well. So it's really quite good, enjoyable.
It's a nice environment for them to come. They're safe, there's nothing that they can sort of hurt themselves on. They can run around, enjoy it, and we can have a relaxation too. It's just lovely. They like the lights, so many things for them to do. They just love it, yeah. And we can relax and we enjoy it as well because we can actually go on things with the children, which is very unusual. You can actually go in the pool pond and play. You can go on the waterbed and lie about and enjoy it, and it's fun to play with them.
Reflections is based on a stunningly simple Dutch idea called schnoezelen. Basically, as you say, if you design for people with learning disabilities, with sensory disabilities, then amazingly enough, anyone can actually enjoy it. I mean, do you sort of take time out yourself?
I wish I had the time to do that, but yeah, I mean, the project's open to all ages and all abilities, and I think that's the important thing, and we feel that anybody, regardless of their disability or their abilities, can benefit from it. If they want to come in here and just relax for a few minutes, then they can do that. If they want to fall asleep, then that's fine.
But there's something odd here, isn't there? Because, I mean, if it's fun, it's normally for the kids.
Yeah, I think we all like to enjoy ourselves. All ages are entitled to some fun in their lives, so yeah, the project's definitely open to all ages.
And you don't have to live specifically in Hounslow?
No, you don't. I mean, Hounslow residents do get priority on the booking facility, and also it's free to those, but people who live outside the borough are restricted to how far in advance they can book a session, and also there is a small charge.
Thanks very much.
Well, it's a safe environment for the children to play in, educational, it's making them aware of their senses without them actually knowing it. And I think it's a place where everyone of every age group can gain from the experience.
Very clever indeed. Now, to prove the point that not all scientists are mad boffins with horn-rimmed glasses, strange hair and white coats, I'm joined by our very own forensic scientist and television presenter extraordinaire who fell asleep during the filming of that, I have to tell you. And his name is Tom Magner. Welcome back, Tom. Nice to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm very relaxed after that trip to the
You're not going to nod off on the sofa, are you?
No, I won't, no, honestly.
Now, you've got an interesting experiment to tell us all about. Before we get into that, it's coming up to National Science Week.
Indeed, it's started.
Has it really?
Indeed, it started. It runs through all the way till 25th of March.
25th of March.
A week of activities.
Now, there's quite a few things going on in our various parts of our region. Would you like to tell us about some of those?
Yes, at the Brunel University at the Nave, there's a series of lectures. Some of them are perhaps a bit too scientific in a way for bringing to the public. I mean, there are some about some ghostly atomic particles called neutrinos, which buzz around in the air doing all sorts of things. There's also a serious look at tragedies and disasters and seeing if any real lessons can be learnt from them, rather than they happen, there's an inquiry and it all disappears and everyone forgets about it.
Your field?
My field,
yeah.
Indeed. Oh. Also in Slough, Windsor and Maidenhead, primary school children are going around doing energy surveys in the school buildings.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to ask you about, was that National Science Week is, you know, okay, it's a chance for the scientists in the nation to show off and kind of, you know, expound what they're up to. But it can go above the average person, for example me, as I'm about to find out, the average person's head, and particularly children. So how are they involving children in National Science Week?
Well, it depends on where you are and on the sort of organisation that's involved, but there is an attempt more to bring the public in, more to bring the families in, if you like.
Right.
To get the adults to come in and bring the kids, or perhaps to work the other way around and make it exciting enough. Yes, it is possible to make science exciting. So the kids say, yes, I want to do this, I want to try it. But it's interesting that Annette was talking earlier on in the programme about learning through action. There are a considerable number of people in the science establishment who believe that we're not really doing enough things in schools anymore. We're talking about them, but not doing enough. So it was interesting hearing Annette saying that, actually, and there are scientists who certainly...
Come on then, get on with it.
Okay.
Now, how do you bang a nail? This reminds me of, what was that programme that used to be on? Oh, yeah. How? Yeah. All together now.
Show you
how. Now, how, Tom?
Showing your age and my age.
Yeah. You speak for yourself. How do you bang a nail into a piece of 4x2 with a banana?
What, this? As in,
that's a piece of 4x2.
A piece of wood, an ordinary nail, and a banana that you can buy just down the road. Do you want me to keep you in suspense a little bit longer? Or?
Yes. Go on then, Tom.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you a little bit about Science Week, and the main aim of it is, in the words of William Waldegrave, the Science Minister, and Minister for everything else as well, is that...
Allegedly.
Allegedly, of course. Science is fundamental, but also fun. And as we've just been saying, there are lots of activities happening in the area, in the WMtv area, up and down the country. But the main thing is that there's a whole variety of activities, and there's also the element of fun in some of them, I have to say, not in all of them. The Met Office at Bracknell are having fun. They're introducing a World Weather Watch,
where you can go along on Wednesday the 23rd of March and help in the largest ever volunteer weather watch. Weather permitting, that is, because they organisers actually say, I'm sorry, if the weather's too bad, it's off, and you'll just have to tour our trailer in the car park, which is really the science is fun element of the week. But one of the main activities in our area is at the Royal Holloway College in Egham, and I'm particularly indebted to their various departments for some of the things you're going to see in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, I'm not.
Particularly I know Steve's desperate to see the story of the piece of wood, the nail and the banana, but I'm just going to keep you in suspense just a little bit longer on that particular one. Just ask you perhaps to dream about faraway places and going off on that holiday in the sun. And you've probably strolled along sort of country lanes and seen loads of wheat fields. In that sort of calm scene, there is evil lurking there, believe it or not, in the shape of the grain weevil. And through the miracles of science, we can now look at a picture. It'll be coming up on the screen in a moment. Do put your food down, by the way, if you're of a nervous disposition.
Oh, there he is.
On the screen, we have the head of the grain weevil, magnified 230 times. So
he just ate one of the graphics that we had up, but he's back there now.
He's a deceptive little chap, actually. And on this, you can actually count the hairs on the back of its head. Now, the piece of equipment that enables you to do this, worth £80,000, and it'll make the hairs on the back of your hand look a bit like pine forests in Norway. But I think it's probably enough of that to put you off your dinner. So, without further ado, let's come back to the grain, not to the grain weevil. We've done him already, but come back to the experiment that I know Steve is desperately keen to see. So, for this, please, of course, as they say in all the best-run television programmes, please don't try this one at home. Now, right, nail, piece of wood. We'll leave that banana over there.
If it's in a Tommy Cooper voice, it'd be a lot more fun.
Well, it would be,
nail,
actually,
piece
yeah.
of wood, bang, yeah.
I'll leave you to do that
Go
one.
on.
Right, okay, right. Now, here is a little trick, I'm afraid.
Is this your coffee? I mean, you can get a drink outside the studio.
Oh, no. I never thought of that, you know, Steve. Never thought of that one. Anyway, this is a flask of liquid nitrogen in here. The temperature in here is minus 195 degrees centigrade. Body temperature, something like 37 centigrade. Freezing point of water, 0 centigrade. Boiling point of water, 100 degrees centigrade. So, in very basic terms, it's very, very cold, which is why I'm going to put this glove on. Now, here we go. The one I prepared earlier.
Oh, no.
I'm going to put my hand into this
Don't
steaming...
do it, Tom.
There we are. A frozen banana. Right, and I'm just going to take this nail, without the aid of a safety net, and I'm just going to use the banana to knock it into the wood, and therefore, in all the best-run experiments, it actually falls apart. So there we are. There. Science is wonderful, isn't it? It's
Never
fun as
work
well.
with animals, children, or bananas is the moral of this story.
Yes, indeed. Right.
Don't, whatever you do, listen, seriously, whatever you do not try this at home, because...
Yes, that's the serious message behind this. It's a little bit of fun, and I'm a scientist, and I've had some very good tuition from Royal Holloway College, actually, yes, and there we have the debris that remains. Right, now,
dear.
I thought as it was National Science Week, what we ought to do, really, is just to put you to a little test, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I'm really looking forward to this. Can you put your
put
hydrogen
your flask
and
away. All right, I'll put my flask away.
Banana can stay there, but...
Well, it's quietly sort of
Will it melt?
smoking away. No, it's apparently, according to my advisors, you can actually eat it, but I'm not actually going to try that, actually.
You carry on, mate. Anyway.
Don't like bananas myself. Right, now, have you ever done a psychological profile test?
Psychometric testing, I've had a go at once.
You have had a go at?
I've been
right.
psychometrically tested, and
Doesn't show.
I've only just been let out for the programme.
Okay, I must just stress to everyone at home that this, in fact, is not, it's just a little sample of a test. It's not the complete test.
I wonder what you're going to do then. You want a little sample. I thought perhaps I'd have to take the jacket
no,
off.
you can stay sat there.
Okay,
that's fine. Okay. Now, all you have to do to each of these questions is give me a number between 1 and 8. Okay. Not nervous, are you, by any chance?
I've been set up here, haven't I? Thanks a lot, you lot. Yeah,
the cooperation of the management. Right, we're going to look at punctuality first.
Right.
Right. The lowest number is you're casual about appointments. The top number is you're never late. So between 1 and 8, what would you say your punctuality performance is like?
7.
7?
Yeah.
7, right, okay. 7 for that. Competitiveness. 1 is not competitive, 8 is very competitive. So whereabouts are you there?
4.
4?
Yeah. 4.5.
4. I'm sorry, this is just
so
big numbers.
Breaks the barriers of science.
Yes, indeed,
okay.
right. Pace of life. 1 is you never feel rushed. and 80s you always feel rushed in a TV studio. I'm not kidding.
Is
this is
he mad?
serious.
I was right the first time. All scientists are crazy.
Okay, between 1 and 8 then.
So 1 is not very rushed. 8
never
is
feel rushed.
extremely rushed all the time.
8 is extremely rushed.
6, I think.
6, right? Yeah. Okay, right. Okay. Prioritising.
No comments from the director, please.
Taking one thing at a time is 1. Trying to do many things all at the same time is 8.
Well, like sort of make coffee, look after people, do the programme, sweep up afterwards, yeah.
Stand on one leg and all those sorts of things.
Probably 5.
Probably 5, right, okay. Now,
although some people here disagree with that.
Now, there's another pace of life type of thing. If you like doing things slowly, that's 1. If you like doing things fast, that's 8. So where are you on that scale?
If you're watching Mother, if I like doing things slowly, it's 1. Yeah, 5, I guess 5.
5?
Really, yeah.
5. Okay, feelings now. Feelings. We're getting near the end, so don't worry. We're
I'm
getting
not
near the end.
in the least bit stressed.
Jolly good, fine, okay, right. You express your feelings is 1. You hold in your feelings is 8. Where do you appear
1.
on that? 1.
Very much so.
Did I hear a ripple from somewhere?
Yeah, it's along the lines of let's have a good day, lads.
Fine, and finally, as they say, interests. Many outside interests, 1. Few outside interests, 8.
1.
1.
No hesitation whatsoever.
Right. So I'm now going to perform this really difficult feat, again without the aid of a safety net. I'm going to add this score up.
Okay.
So you are somewhere along the lines of 11, 17, this is not age by the way, 22, 27. Right, you have scored on this 87 points. Right. Now, according to
WMtv, 87 points.
A little bit like Eurovision, this, but no. The scoring method from the Department of Stress Control at Royal Holloway College, Duncan Harris, who I'm very grateful to for this test. You might not be so grateful to.
Thank you, Duncan, for this unglowing sentiment.
This puts you at off the bottom of the scale. You needed 90 to get onto the scale, which means you score B. It's rather like sort of A minus, A plus, A, B plus, B minus, like being back at school.
Yeah.
I was told that if you're off the bottom of the scale, you're not quite average. But he wouldn't tell me any more than that. Anyway, this basically means that you are...
If only you viewers could hear what's going on in here. That's all I'm going to say.
You are a type B orientation in the jargon.
I know that.
Which means you are characterised by more easygoing behaviour and less competitive in relation to daily events.
Thank you, Tom.
Is that fair?
Again, I refuse to answer that on the grounds that I like working here. No.
Well, we've been having a bit of fun with that, but this is actually a serious test. It's part of a long series that's done for airline pilots, actually. So.
No, it's absolutely of no interest to me whatsoever, then, is it?
No, not having been an airline
in the airline, but I mean, what can I tell you?
No. But so there we are.
It is interesting. Now, are these part of National Science Week?
Yes, if you go along to the Royal Holloway College on Saturday, one of the things you can do is you can actually try out a little bit more than this. You can have a go on a computer flight simulator and see if you can land an aircraft all on a computer screen and all totally safe.
Yeah, we're not going to let them loose on a 707 and fly into Heathrow, are we?
No, not really, no. And also you can see the banana demonstration and many other much more exciting demonstrations we couldn't actually do in the studio.
And wasn't it worth it? The banana is now turning blue, I want you to know. So heaven only knows. Tom, thank you very much for coming in. What can we expect from the TM Science Department at WMtv shortly?
We can expect some consumer stories coming shortly. Particularly an item that looks rather promising is the problems of electrical safety in the home and the possible risks of fire from faulty appliances. That's something that we're working with the London Fire Brigade on.
Promise not to fall asleep during any of those, won't you?
No, I promise.
Really enjoyed that piece, Tom, anyway. Thank you very much indeed. Nice to see you again. Right, OK, as you all know by now, Tony O'Rourke has covered sport in his own inimitable style for some time. He's turned his attention now to entertainment. Ah, the roar of the grease paint and the smell of the crowd. Project, lovey, project, and all that. Here's Tony O'Rourke with the Datchet Players.
Alas, poor Brennan, I knew him, Horatio. I have borne him on my back 1,000 times. This week, we're down at the Datchet Hall, checking out On the Razzle. Gordon Gribbon, you're one of the performers in On the Razzle. Have you been on TV before?
No.
Are you nervous?
No, not really.
I am!
I think you're making fun of me, Chief.
Gordon, tell us what it's about. What's On the Razzle about?
Basically, it's a couple of young guys, greengrocer's assistants, grocer assistants. We go out, we're left in charge of the shop, and go out and close the shop up and go out, have a night on the Razzle, getting a pass before it's late. In Vienna. Their shop is on the outskirts of Vienna. I hasten to add, it is set in the late 1800s, so it's all coach and horses and stuff like that. Have a pretzel.
And quickly degenerates into a farce with hilarious consequences.
Exactly. Even more so when my boss, Herr Zangler, tries on his new uniform, which the tailor says, nature gave you your measurements, it's up to the tailor to interpret them.
Mavis Froud, you are the director of On the Razzle. I am. Tell us about, first of all, tell me this, something I've always wanted to know.
Prepare yourself for a surprise.
Why is it that when people get involved in the theatre, when they meet their friends in the street, they all go, "Oh, lovey, darling, mwah, mwah, mwah." Why do they do that?
The others might, I don't.
Has it ever occurred to you, Christopher, that we are the backbone of this country?
What is the Windsor Theatre Guild? Who is it?
The Windsor Theatre Guild are probably the best amateur dramatic society in this area. They've got total commitment, they are very professional, they put in 100% effort, they're absolutely great.
Well, there's not a lot you can say to that, Chief.
Claire Baldock, you play Christopher in On the Razzle. That makes you something of a leading boy, doesn't it?
It's something like that, yeah. It's quite a challenge to have to be male, and I have to flirt with somebody in this as well. And so it's nice to see how the men do it in real life.
As Felicity Kendall did in the original production.
That's right, yeah. So it's quite a challenge to do, but good fun.
Do you never say that to yourself, Christopher?
Not in so many words, Mr. Weinbell.
Well, you should. After all, what is it that separates man from beast?
Not a lot, Mr. Weinbell.
Trade, Christopher.
I was thinking that.
Where would we be without trade?
Closed, Mr. Weinbell.
So why in this production is there a lady dressed as a fella?
We've not really been able to discover why. We think it just adds a new dimension to farce, really.
Now, that's another thing that's worrying me, leaving his place in charge of you two. I need someone with a proper sense of responsibility. Not a log-rolling counter-clerk and a cack-handed apprentice.
I'm mortified.
Oh, I'm articled.
Who did you have in mind, then?
You two, of course.
No, I mean to leave in charge with a sense of responsibility.
Now, what would you do in my shoes?
Jingle.
What?
Jingle make any difference for just one afternoon, Chief?
It might be longer than that.
On the Razzle is on now, until when?
18th and 19th, and then the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. And 26th.
At the Datchet Hall in Datchet.
That's correct.
Which is impossible to find.
No, it's not. It's quite simple.
I spent 45 minutes in the car park trying to find the way in.
Well,
How do you get here?
If you reach the fish restaurant along the road, you know you've gone too far.
Right.
Well, my niece and I are not to be prized apart quite so easily, and neither are hers. I hope I make my meaning clear.
Marie must be mine.
Never! She's a star outlier from Lytham and Saunders. I am a Zangler, provision merchant to the Beaumont, top drawer of the cheesemongers, and number 3 in the small bore club. Do you suppose I'm better?
On the Razzle is a free adaptation of Einen Jux will Sickenmaken by the 19th century Austrian playwright Johann Nestroy, which was used as the basis for The Matchmaker, and which in turn served as the basis for Hello Dolly. In this production, Tom Stoppard uses his own brand of, at times, outrageous wit to create a hilarious farce, which earned from The Guardian the accolade, "Apart from the importance of being earnest, there may be no funnier play in the English language." So if you're having a bit of trouble with your proscenium arch and you fancy a fun night out, On the Razzle is at the Datchet Hall till the 26th of March. Sorry.
Sorry, I call them the Datchet Players. Of course, it's the Windsor Theatre Guild, and they're based in Datchet. Now then, well, you're watching Kenneth Branagh. Thank you, Tony, as always. Now, if you have an idea for a programme, if you have any comments on Scene on 7, or if you'd like to send us a postcard from your holiday in Barbados and really upset us, please write to us at the following address, which is Scene on 7, WMtv, P.O. Box 7, Slough SL3 6ET. And the telephone message answer phone service, you can use 0753 811 817. That's 0753 811 817. The Moving Magazine service features Our Dave Says, among other things, and is available 24 hours a day. It's packed with useful advice, information and fun. Miss it at your peril. I hope you've enjoyed the programme this week. It's been great fun, really enjoyed it. Thanks to all my guests as well, and also to the team here at WMTV. Thanks also to you for watching, for Scene on 7 and WMTV. This is Steve Brennan saying goodbye till next week. Bye-bye.